Survivor Series 2012, and CM Punk is being forced to defend his WWE Championship against Cena and Ryback, and he's in huge danger of losing it until Ryback is stomped into oblivion by a debuting Seth Rollins. And Rollins is acting alone, but he's acting on behalf of the voice of the voiceless. And Punk takes the chance to level Cena with a GTS and retain the title. But why is this new kid on the block helping Punk? Well, Paul Heyman explains on Raw that Rollins is the future best in the world. And under the tutelage of CM Punk and himself, he will see his full potential. But this is when Ryback arrives, and he is pissed. Rollins goes at him, but as he dives out, he gets caught out of midair and annihilated on the concrete. And then Ryback goes right at Punk, and it's on again between them. And Ryback actually gets on top of the voice of the voiceless, and he muscles him over towards the announce table, and then drives him through it. Punk's ribs are in pieces, just like the announce table. And Punk self-diagnoses himself as injured and rules himself out of TLC. However, ruled in is his protege Seth Rollins. But it's backstage. We hear from a future Hall of Famer that he's been inspired by CM Punk bringing someone in and wants to do the same very soon. Which takes us to TLC, and the self-proclaimed future best in the world is doing the bidding of the voice of the voiceless, and it's a tough night for him because Ryback is on one hell of a tear. He's been hunting the WWE Championship, and he's gotten so close. And now, in order to get closer, he's going to need to bust through this roadblock. But in order to do that, he's going to have to get around Heyman, who's now on the apron trying to distract the referee. And then the supposedly injured CM Punk slides in the ring, drops Ryback with a GTS, and slithers out again. And it sets Rollins up for his massive in-ring debut win over the Giant. And Heyman's prophecy is looking accurate. He's well on track to becoming the best in the world, but it wasn't the only promise made by a legendary figure. And in the main event, we see exactly what Mick Foley was talking about. Because John Cena is facing Dolph Ziggler, with the winner being able to walk out of the ladder match with the Money in the Bank briefcase. And despite AJ Lee trying to get involved but failing, Cena has Ziggler on the back and he's in dire trouble. But that is when it happens, because Mick Foley wanders out and the crowd stands. They want to see what he was talking about. And if you think Seth Rollins' debut was impactful, this goes to a whole new level. It's Dean Ambrose, and he only has one target, and it's the man at the top of the mountain. Ambrose is relentless. He fires off shot after shot, which of course opens the door for the younger Ziggler, who almost in a state of shock, climbs the ladder and pulls down the case. And while that is a headline in itself, it's Ambrose who takes out the headliner in John Cena. The landscape of WWE is changing rapidly with this infiltration of new and younger talent coming in. But it's a man who certainly isn't new, who shows up to confront a mentor about a title match that he promised months ago.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
You need to understand that your little jabs and your insults, it's all kiddie games. You can't leave a mark on the champ's face. Come Royal Rumble, understand when you step in the ring, your arms are just too short to box with God.
The Rock wants you to go home and think about the next 20 days. As a matter of fact, The Rock wants you to go home and look in the mirror. As a matter of fact, The Rock wants you to go home, look in the mirror, and strip naked. And then on your right butt cheek, this is what The Rock wants you to do. The Rock wants you to get the tattoo of The Rock size 15 shoe. So you will have a lifetime reminder of how badly The Rock is gonna kick your candy ass at Royal Rumble.
The Rock hits Punk with a rock bottom, and he's immediately jumped by Rollins, who tries to take it to the Great One. But once again, it's The Rock who gets on top, and with a clothesline over the top rope to clean house, the place erupts, and The Rock is back. And he's back for his championship. But watching all of this from the depths of the stadium like usual is Mick Foley. And this time, he's flanked by his protege in Dean Ambrose, and Foley says that John Cena was picked because instead of waiting his turn, Dean Ambrose wants to make a statement. And what better way than gunning for the top dog? And in an incredibly bold move, Foley actually calls out Cena, and he wants to unleash his protege on him. And just like you would expect, Cena says that if you want some, come get some. And that's exactly what Dean Ambrose does. And Ambrose debuts on Raw in the biggest match possible with the legend by his side against a legend in the making. But it very quickly falls apart because Ambrose is totally unhinged, and the fight ends up not only outside the ring, but in the crowd, where it runs into a double countout, and there's no winner. But while the match is stopped, it certainly doesn't stop John Cena. But no rock bottom or attitude adjustment will keep either of these rising stars down. And before The Rock can challenge CM Punk for the WWE title, we need to find out who will main event WrestleMania in the Royal Rumble. And of course, as fate would have it, Rollins and Ryback will collide inside the match, and Ryback once again is on top with his pure power. But it's Rollins who gets the elimination by turning it into a Hurricane Rana. And Ryback is livid, and he rips Seth Rollins out of the ring and absolutely obliterates him on the floor. Rollins is barely moving, and Ryback just disregards him back into the ring and leaves him at the mercy of Dean Ambrose, who throws Seth Rollins out of the ring and gets his first elimination in his Royal Rumble career. And after he comes to, Rollins isn't happy. He's hesitant to walk away. He almost wants to fight, but he has to leave for now. But it's how the Royal Rumble comes to an end that gets everyone talking, because it's come down to two, and that is Cena and Ambrose. And the crowd is standing. They actually believe that this new guy could rocket himself into the spotlight in the biggest way possible. And he gets so close. Cena is teetering several times during the fight, but then Ambrose gets frustrated and he runs at Cena, and Cena capitalizes and ekes out the Royal Rumble win. He books himself yet another WrestleMania main event. And despite trying to show Ambrose respect after hustling his way to the victory, Ambrose slaps the hand away and leaves. But now, the question must turn to who will John Cena's potential opponent at WrestleMania be? Because The Rock goes one-on-one with CM Punk in the main event. But is it really one-on-one? Because Heyman meddles in it like usual, annoying the Great One immensely, constantly disrupting and getting in the way, all to the point where he gets a rock bottom for his troubles. But that particular distraction costs him, because Punk takes advantage and he loads him up, looking to put him through the announce table. But The Rock reverses and drives Punk through it instead. And then all he has to do is roll him in the ring and pin him. But as he slides in, boom! He's curb stomped out of nowhere. The apprentice helps the master retain via disqualification. He exercises the championship advantage over the biggest possible opponent. And Punk's shield holds firm again. But not only that, he's launched him directly into the spotlight just weeks after debuting. And the spotlight for these proteges only gets brighter, because after a rampant Dean Ambrose performance where he gets a win over a plucky Cody Rhodes, Mick Foley announces that he's unleashing him into his perfect asylum, the Elimination Chamber, where not one person will be safe. But this announcement is interrupted by WWE Champion CM Punk. And of course, this brings about more tension, because the two young stars who haven't settled their differences stare down. And while they keep their distance for now, CM Punk is out here to gloat over his victory. But then he gets interrupted. Nah. that ain't gonna work for the great one. CM Punk, you claim that you're the best in the world. You claim that you're the greatest champion of all time. Well, The Rock says you ain't nothing until you've stopped hiding behind your little shield. Because little does Seth know, he's being fed to the hounds. The Rock sees you bringing in someone. The Rock sees Mick Foley bringing in someone. Well, maybe, just maybe, The Rock might have something else up his sleeve. Like it or not, CM Punk, The Rock is getting his rematch, and that rematch is going to be at Elimination Chamber, where finally The Rock will take what is truly his and show this place exactly what a real champion looks like. What The Rock wants, The Rock gets, and he has his rematch, and it's even more physical and emotional than the last, because time is running out for Punk to main event Wrestlemania, which is exactly what he wants, but time is also running out for The Rock to take the title to WrestleMania, which is what he wants, so something has to give. And just like Royal Rumble, Heyman is getting involved. This time though, he's holding The Rock and telling Punk to hit him with the title. But as Punk tries, Rock moves and Heyman gets wiped out instead. And now The Rock grabs him, masters him up and hits him with a rock bottom. And this is when the apprentice arrives. He storms out and The Rock doesn't even care. He doesn't even acknowledge him. And there's a big reason. Brings his own protege, only this one is much closer to home because it's family. The Rock is the new WWE champion and Roman Reigns is the newest member of the roster. And the road to WrestleMania explodes to life, including Punk being on the warpath, hunting to get his WWE championship back, and it's scorched earth. He interrupts matches, he destroys everything in his path until his pursuit hits a significant roadblock. Punk has been taken out of the pursuit of The Rock and his championship by the Phenom. But that certainly doesn't mean his protege can't step up and do what he's already done, and that is fight for the voice of the voiceless. And that's exactly what he tries. However, he stops because he sees that he's been beaten to the punch by Dean Ambrose, who explodes in a wave of fury on John Cena. He's got his own beef with him, but it's not long after Rollins tries to get at The Rock, but he gets stopped by Roman Reigns, and the fight leads its way all the way around ringside and into the path of Ambrose, who was looking for a weapon, but instead he gets a shot from Seth Rollins, and that creates a free-for-all. All three new arrivals tear ringside apart with a wild brawl, all while The Rock and Cena resume their hostile encounter. It's all coming apart at the seams, but that's not it, because we see that Punk and Undertaker is made official. Can't say the same when we hit WrestleMania, because the next generation is on the show of shows, and it threatens to steal an already stacked WrestleMania card. It feels like a genuine shift in the landscape, but who can genuinely call themselves the future best in the world? Well, it appears they all might be, because this one tears the house down, and there's barely anything separating them. They're all so evenly matched, but it comes down to one final moment after ringside is completely trashed, and bodies are broken, and chairs are grabbed. And all three men stare each other down holding the steel, and the crowd rises. As all hell breaks loose, Roman throws his chair at Ambrose, and it knocks him down, but it leaves Rollins open, and he cracks Roman in the back with it, knocking him out of the ring. And Rollins basks in his moment, only to turn around into a very familiar looking move that he now calls Dirty Deeds. And he inherited it from his mentor, and just like his mentor, he thrives in the chaos. And the classic battle draws a standing ovation. And while they stood apart as enemies, when the battle was over, the shields come down and the respect is shown. And it's clear that the future of WWE and wrestling in general is in good hands. And you can believe that.